that was the first night where I went and sat inside a phone booth.
I slept.
And slept there. I grew up very privileged, not in the financial economic sense, but privileged to grow up in an environment that was just rich in experiences.
Right.
We were lucky to grow up when every road, at least every road that we knew, was tarmac. A city council that was working and functional. Garbage collection was mechanized.
It worked.
It worked. Everything worked.
There was those big lorries that would come and
pick. Just pick.
Yeah. Welcome to DDWithMaqC. Development Dynamics is a platform that shares the stories of living legends, people who are inspiring others, people who are doing social good, people who are in advocacy spaces, in human rights spaces, and basically pushing purpose-driven initiatives. Today, we are absolutely lucky to have a guest whom I respect a lot. I respect his own journey as a man, his own journey as a leader, and also the kind of impactful work that he's been able to do across various markets in the African contexts. We all know, and you've probably heard this mentioned in this platform before, that design thinking is a way to approach situations with by putting the user or by putting the person at the center of the solution. It's moving to planet-centered design by putting the planet at the center of the solution, but nonetheless, that is the idea that this man carries. Through his own life experiences, but also through listening to various stories of others, he's been able to craft very dynamic solutions in the social impact space, and he's empowered his own team and many others, many clients across different fields. So today I'll be talking with the CEO of Thinkplace, and his name is Michael Ngigi. Thank you so much for joining DDWithMaqC, and karibu. This is going to be an interesting conversation. So karibu sana.
Thank you.
The crew, the team, everyone behind the scenes is very happy, and I've been eager to meet you. And I would first welcome just to hear, how are you today?
I'm great. First of all, thank you. That's a very eloquent introduction. I think you've done this many times.
I am honored that I'm a willing recipient, a willing buyer of many nice stories like yours. So wonderful. Thank you.
Yeah. I'm really happy to be here. I think I walked in and I was surprised. This is quite, it's a fantastic setup.
Thank you.
And I think it just shows like the journey that you guys have made.
Yeah.
These are the things that really inspire me.
Yeah. The production crew whose all details will be on this thread right now in this link. Big up to you guys. You're all doing wonderful work, and we are grateful. But to you, so it's 2024 today, and many years ago you came into Earth. I'd love us to start from that place. I'd love this story to just be a story of your journey through life, your journey through different experiences. And also you're becoming this very influential leader. All of that comes from a particular place. So before you, where do you come from? What are your roots?
That's
takes you way back before you.
Yeah, but it's also a very wide question.
Right.
I'm coming from a background that's like it's like a mosaic. A lot of interesting moments, influences, a lot of people who have made sacrifices so that I can thrive. And a very, very fulfilling journey from childhood until now, despite some of the challenges that I've faced. And so I'm one of those people who will always say that I've just had such a fun, wild, and gratifying journey to where I am. So I grew up. I grew up in many places, but where we started off was in Pangani.
Here in Nairobi, in Pango.
Pango. And again, when I say this in front of people born after 1990, when I say that
everyone else in the room.
Oh yeah. So let me tell you a story. I grew when I was born and just growing up the first couple of years.
So you were born in Pangani?
Yeah.
Born in Nairobi?
Pumwani.
Pumwani?
Yeah, everyone my age was born in Pumwani.
And if you aren't, they lied to you.
Yeah, they lied to you. So, I was born in Pumwani, grew up in Pangani, but I would say I grew up very privileged. Not in the financial economic sense, but privileged to grow up in an environment that was just rich in experiences.
Right.
That was when Nairobi worked.
What era is this you are talking about? You were born in around which era?
80s. Early 80s.
Right. So our president, the second president, was still newish in his term. The political environment was still very, the Raila thing had happened sometime.
Exactly.
Okay, all
and
right.
we were just about 20 years after
independence.
After independence.
Right.
And so there was still a lot of, you could see a lot of excellence in how things were done back then. We were lucky to grow up when, every road, at least every road that we knew was tarmac. We had a city council that was working and functional. It was really difficult to see a stray dog because there was a dog pound that dealt with that. Garbage collection was mechanized.
It worked.
It worked. Everything worked.
There was those big lorries that would come and
just pick.
Yeah. Oh, and Pangani was uptown.
Not really.
It wasn't what it is right now.
Yeah, but still, then we were looking at Parklands.
Oh yeah, and those were inspirational.
Yeah. Even Isili was still not kidogo.
Isili was arranged the way with the streets and the and the avenues.
Yeah, actually, Isili is where people would give addresses. That is First Avenues, things that here. When you tell your border guy, you'll never get your stuff.
Exactly.
So we were lucky in that sense, and we lived in a communal setting. And I remember we, in our tunazita ploti.
Yeah.
So we were the only Black Kenyans.
Right.
And we had Arabs, Asians.
Yeah.
It was interesting. So it was also a bit of a culture shock going to primary school and realizing watu weusi tuko wengi. And I think that was the first time I can remember seeing the world as this multicultural place full of so many experiences. Because we were raised communally, so you'd be spanked by
any parent.
And in my case, it would be parents who are not like me.
Yeah.
Like in terms of color.
Exactly.
And so I think those differences, like the differences in color, I didn't see them until much later.
And you're what born in a family?
Last born, third born.
Oh, third and last born.
Third and last, yeah. And then I was also lucky to have, to be in a family where my parents were among, those that first generation that came to town
Nairobi,
and really took advantage of the opportunities in Nairobi. And I remember even when we were young, like we had everything. We had everything. Even though now looking back, we were not really well financially, but my parents did a really good job of ensuring that my siblings and I didn't feel that lack.
What were their what did they do?
So my mom was a teacher, and my dad had just stopped working as a banker. I'm saying stopped working to mean, I think he lost his job as a banker just about the time I was born. But he was and still is a very hardworking and very motivated and optimistic man. And I think in our family we say we get we get attracted to risk because of that optimism, that energy. And I believe that is one of the things that has really been a driving force. My mom, on the other hand, being a teacher, took it upon herself to, first of all, ensure that we performed well in school. But most importantly, she taught us how to navigate society, to navigate dreams,
life, basically.
Life, everything, because she knew that is what she could really give us. And she's a good teacher, especially a good life teacher. So a lot of the things I still do now, it's because I vividly remember the stories, how she taught me, the practical examples she used. And so that, again, that is what that has been my fuel. When growing up, we also had a lot of, it was a very vibrant community. And we did stuff that I wouldn't trade anything for right now. Like we had all these experiences that kids nowadays will never have. We would go hunting, would move, like we would walk from Pangani all the way to Eastlands, which was just ilikuwa kichaka tu, and would go hunting for rabbits and get lost and not know how to come back. We would tunaitaje better? Cat, better mnaitaje? So it's like a wooden panel, you put wheels on it.
Yeah, sort of like a mkokoteni, but a small one.
Yeah, it's like a go-kart, and you get all sorts of injuries.
Those were fun games, fun times.
Fun games. We would, go a bit more risky in experimenting.
Swim in Nairobi River.
Well, that was a bit too
too wild.
Too wild. But I remember we would experiment with different things and blow stuff up. Like there's a time we took a can of Doom. No, that time it wasn't even Doom. It was called Johnson's Eat. We put it on the stove and waited patiently to see what would happen.
And it will happen.
Oh, it happened.
Oh,
all eyebrows off, a loud bang, and luckily everyone.
You survived.
Yeah, we survived.
Jeez. That's wild. Yeah.
No, it gets even more wild. we believed in superheroes.
Oh yeah.
So I remember one time my brother, is called Moas, telling me, you know, there's a secret I want to tell you, but don't tell anyone. And I was so curious. I was like, tell me. I won't tell anyone, I promise. He said, I have a superpower. I can fly. Totally blew my mind.
You believed he would?
It's your big brother. Like, and I couldn't sleep. I kept on thinking, like, how is it that he's had these powers?
Oh my God.
He's never used them. Like, this guy is so humble.
Spider-Man, Superman, Batman, those guys were real, eh?
Yeah, so I remember just begging him, just fly. Just like on a Sunday afternoon when no one is watching, just fly. Just fly. I need to see. I was like, no, I'll fly. At some point, I'll fly. One thing led to the other, and I don't want to say I pushed him, but I think one thing led to another, and like he fell off
a building
down onto a construction site and just missed the pillar spikes, broke his hands, and I think for me, I still couldn't swallow that he can't fly. Because my mind, like we believed in the impossible, and so in my mind, it was so vivid, and I said to myself, maybe he wasn't prepared, maybe, and I think just being sat down by my parents to sort of go through what happened, that's when I started realizing that there's reality. Actually, there's a chance he can't fly. So that was childhood. Like you believe in stuff and you believe so strongly. And, you know, also having parents who really ensured that we believe we could do everything. Like my mom, she kept on reminding me and my siblings,
there's no limits.
Like, there's no limits. And no one can tell you what you can't do. And I think that is my really foundation.
Good. That's an amazing foundation.
Yeah.
You believe it, you can achieve it.
You believe it, yeah. I remember one time I asked my mom, because I could see, as I grew up, I started seeing the difference between our family and the other families, and I realized that they were well off.
They were actually well off.
They were actually well off, comparatively. And I had also started, getting to understand that we were kind of struggling, like with rent. I started hearing that. And I think it bothered me to the point of asking my mom, why are we not like the others? What didn't we do? And I think she very intelligently wanted to address that situation in a way that would result in something good.
A teachable moment.
A teachable moment. So she took a piece of rubber from flip-flops, slippers, put it in water, a bucket of water, kept coming back up. And she said, you know, it's this is our situation right now, but it's not your situation. Doesn't have to be your situation. So it keeps coming back. That could be you.
That visual, you can't delete it.
Yeah, that was powerful for me. And I didn't know that later that would be the story of my life. And that would be like a foundation of why I'm not afraid of rock bottom. Because I know, okay, now the only way is up. So my mom did that really well.
Proper grounding.
Yeah. Another thing was visioning. So my mom is a very like she's very strong in her faith, and we were introduced to Sunday school really early. And we spent all of our childhood like in a very Christian kind of setting. And one thing I'm really happy about is how she taught us how to look into the future and make bets. And so, and I saw this thing when I was already like 30 plus years, you know, I saw it was a fad on YouTube, like, you know, the vision board. Us guys like me, I started doing a vision board when I was 8, 9. And I remember her telling us, write it down, write your future, write what you want and be specific. Visualize it, see it. Then after that, give another person a copy of what you've written.
For accountability.
For accountability. I didn't know it was for accountability. And I remember when I was, later on when I was 24, I was working in a media house, and I kept on, you know, while I was commuting, I would pass this car yard on Muranga Road. And I kept on seeing this car, which was different from the rest. It was an old model, but it really, like, it was always set on the side. And I kept on seeing this car, and I kept on feeling drawn to it, but I was still starting out. I didn't have money. And I was so drawn that one day just got off the matatu. I went and asked, like, is this on sale? The guy said, yes. I said, this is my car, don't sell it. I said, you know, if someone comes with money, I'll sell it. And I remember for some strange reason, because I'm, you know, originally I'm a graphic designer, illustrator. I just got a gig and I got paid. And it was the exact amount.
Enough to go get the car?
Yeah. And I went, I bought it. I didn't know how to drive. So I had my friend
use it a bit,
you know, drive me around and use it a bit, you know, get the girls. But
that's very powerful. Like, see something, claim it.
Yeah.
You have it.
Yeah. And so I remember the first person I called was my mom. Hey, guess what? I got a car. And she said, okay, when are you coming home? And when I went home, she said, hey, like, you knew you wanted it at this time. It came just a couple of days before your 24th birthday.
Look at that.
Like, spot on.
Look at that. Visualize it.
Exactly.
Make a bet.
Exactly. And so a lot of the stuff that I have visualized over the years for some reason, and I believe there's like there's a more sophisticated explanation to this, but I've always gotten it. And I haven't had to really qualify for it. When I write somewhere that, hey, I want to go to Europe, like, what could be taking me to Europe? I'm a development guy. My work is in Africa. Like, why would I qualify to go to Europe to do what? But it always comes because it's so clear in my mind. Yeah, and I think that when you ask me about my childhood, I think that's one significant bit.
Powerful. What are the schools school that you went to?
So I first started off at Park Road Primary School, which was quite good because, like, it was again the schools back then were really organized, equipped. You know, it was a lot of fun. I loved to swim. I was actually a very good swimmer. Yeah. Even the 300 bob that we used to pay, I think, per term or per year, was really hard to raise. And then at some point, I had to go to a cheaper school because of stuff my family was going through. But then, so I went to Race Course Primary School, which was still
very decent,
very decent and performed really well. But then I think that is where I also realized that actually there's life outside Pangani. Because people who are different, you are schooling with guys from all over Nairobi, be it Kibera, Pangani. I really liked it. And it also exposed me to what a society is.
Looks like,
because the first week I got to to primary school, I got bullied by a girl.
Oh wow! At Race Course.
At Race Course. Race Course because it was uko number 1 kwa masomo, but also number 1 in sports. And you can imagine you're in primary school with this chick who's gone to Europe, Sweden to play football. So her grip on your neck,
Oh, it was like a physical bullying,
Physical, lunch money taken, kila kitu.
Bag.
And I had to negotiate my way out of it, and I realized,
this is a different
ecosystem. Yes. It's also the first time I saw primary school kids smoking. I was like, that's how we are
this is where
we are on set, sir. So I think primary school now changed my perspective, and I had to learn how to negotiate. I had to learn how to make friends. I had to learn how to maneuver my way around, especially in terms of bullying. And one of the things that really came out was I realized I had to build my social capital. And so I was good at drawing, and so I would just draw stuff, get people happy. I started even a school magazine, and I would make fun of people and
do a Guido kind of thing.
And at the same time praise some of the bullies so that I can get protection. So it was fun because it now showed me, this is how the world really is set up. And so that was my primary school.
You clear Race Course, you pass and move to high school.
But at the same time there are other things happening.
Okay, right.
So I've not finished primary school, and then one day my parents say we are moving because things had gotten quite tough, and also the place we were living in, it was when now these tall buildings had just started coming up, and you had Pangani. And so we just came to learn that the place we were living in was going to be demolished and extended upwards.
A high-rise,
high-rise. And also at the same time, things had stopped working in the city, potholes, kila mahali, sewage. And so we moved, and I thought we were moving to a place just like that. I think that was, where we moved, it just gave me a new reality. Because we moved to Kasarani, Mweki.
Wow.
In those days, Mweki was like an outpost. Like a center hapo.
Just a few homes.
Surrounded by quarries, wild dogs, hippos, a railway that connects Kasarani and Dandora where people just used to be mugged, murdered. No tarmac. Like ever until Thika Road, no tarmac, and then no water, and then no electricity.
Wow.
Culture shock.
That's
and
extreme.
I remember that's when I realized that now this is getting like real. Rock bottom has just gotten a new definition. And things did not improve in terms of finances, and also now we had to commute to school.
Which is a whole cost. Time. It's just different.
In fact, underline the time bit, because we had to leave home at 4.
With the train?
Not with the train.
To get like something from...
To get a 3 from Thika Road. to Thika Road to...
Race Course.
To Race Course. 4 a.m.
Wow.
And also that, in those years, I like when I say in those years, because it makes me sound like I'm 100 years old.
It's also another era completely.
Yeah, it's another era. At that time, we had matatus were not open to kids. Like it was a loss
because you're not charging.
You're not charging the full price, and so you wake up at 4 and then you have to just you just have to wave matatu after matatu. No one is willing to let
literally
you
begging.
Yeah, literally begging. And so that became the story, especially for me and my sister. By that time, my brother had gone to high school. And so a lot of that we faced with my sister. And I remember telling my mom back then that when I buy my car, if I see one of these makangas and they're old and they're struggling with a walking stick, I will not carry them in my car. Because it was really painful. So that, I think, is also another part of my life that actually got me really uncomfortable. Because you're going to school, you have to walk quite a distance to the bus stop. It's 4 a.m. And you have to, you have also some days to see mom struggling to give you fare, because also it's just a tough time. And I think that I remember that was the first time I started asking myself, what can I do to change this? So I found myself, because remember, Kasarani had a water problem back then. I started, so we used to go long distances to go get water, and it was only boreholes, wells, and the water stank of frogs, and we used to go and fetch water that way. And in the process, I realized actually I have relatives, we have other neighbors who need water, and I can do this for them at a fee. And then when I got paid, I would go back home and say, okay, tomorrow we have fare. And there were two different reactions from my parents. First of all, my mom didn't know what to make of it, because she, as a parent, you're how have we gotten to this point? And then my dad also,
the
man's pride. You can't do this for people.
I am the man.
Leave the finances to me, But then my mom immediately stepped in and said, hey, the boy wants to work. Let him do a bit of it. Let's let him know that this is how the world is. And I think that was a game changer for me. That validation that, hey, you can survive anywhere, and you have that license to do that. And I think that is one of the things that I think wrapped up my primary school well, because I didn't know that high school was just around the corner. And again, that would be a different
experience altogether. Academically, were you, your mom being a teacher, you say she ensured that you put academics first. Was that reflecting in your grades?
Yes. That's not to mean that I was studying and revising for exams. Just having a mom who's a teacher, you just got things really fast, and in class you just needed to listen. And
was she a teacher in the same school?
No.
Okay.
She was in teaching in a secondary school, St. Teresa's secondary school for girls.
Okay.
And we were pretty good in school, And like for me, like top 5,
averaging there.
Yeah, averaging there without a lot of effort. And I'm saying that because also I had a bit of a problem. I was very hyper, serious attention deficit, which I still have to date. And so I used to excel in the stuff that I like, and not really care about the stuff that I don't like.
Yeah.
So luckily, I performed well. And then
what were your dream schools? The ones that you select during class 8?
I can't remember well, but I think there was like everyone else, there was Alliance, CG Starch, and then I received a letter for Moi Forces.
Oh, MFA, okay.
Yeah, back then Moi Forces, like we didn't even know where that was.
Oh.
So for some reason, like my parents just decided, you're going to go to the school where your brother is studying. And so that's how I found myself in Dagoretti.
Ah, okay.
So Dagoretti again, maximum prison.
Yes. Yeah.
But again, like a lot of, I think the value of Dagoretti then was not in academic excellence. Like, of course, people were performing well. It was a top school. But if you ask me, I didn't I didn't enjoy the academics. Like I just, there was so many things on my mind that I couldn't concentrate on school. One of them being, of course, being broke. And I remember just going to school and instead of having like a box, I had a backpack. I was told, your brother will sort you. See your brother is there. Show you around. And so when I got there, I quickly realized that yes, he was in Form 4. I've just come in, but then there are boundaries. I can't be going to cry to him every time something happens to me. So I have to figure it out. He was very supportive. Like he kept on reminding me, if anyone bothers you, come tell me. But it wasn't that easy. So I remember like the first week I was there, I after being taken to my new sleeping quarters, my dorm. First of all, I got the shock of my life because the dorm was called Siberia.
Oh, wow.
For a reason.
Torture?
No. Cold.
Oh, okay.
And ilikuwa ya mabati.
Ooh. All right.
So you walk in and the first thing that hits you is this is different. Because it like, I don't know if global warming has changed things around that area, but it was super cold. And you had to wake up really early to get your slot at the showers, and the showers were just dripping ice cubes.
Dripping, literally.
Yeah, because you open, you turn on the tap, and you have to wait for it. It's not hot water, so you have to wait for it, and it will always surprise you. And then also a lot of theft, a lot of things going on. And I remember the first week I got to school, I was sleeping, and then I woke up, and then I didn't have a mattress.
So they had lifted you.
So I came to learn later how they do it. So if you sleep tired, these guys will come because you've just arrived. You're a mono. You have a new mattress. And you're so tired because of all the registrations you need. And then they wait for you to sleep. And then as you're sleeping, they start moving. Slowly. And by the time you hit the cold mesh and wake up, you just see your mattress bouncing into the darkness, and you can't go there.
Wow.
So it was a shock. But then I think the positive side was there were lots of support from people. Like we learned how to rely on each other as schoolmates, as dorm mates, and it was a thing that I think when I think of high school, I hated academics. So there was and my teachers shouldn't hear this, but my mom can, my dad can. But out of 4 years, I think if I could put together all the days that I attended class, it would be 2 years. But I was in school. Because it was just like my mind was always outside the window.
There were many other things
going on. Yeah, many other things going on. And also the part about being broke. I don't know why it affected me a lot. It's not that I came from a super poor home, but I think there was just something about that.
You wanted more.
I just wanted more. And so I found myself also now just attracted to the idea of selling stuff in school.
What would you trade?
If there was one currency that it was a sure bet, was biscuits, the Britannia biscuits.
Right.
So you come in with a box, you start selling, you bring in another one through the fence. Kidogo kidogo, you have this network, and you're doing really well. Yeah. And then it had all the lessons of business, because you do it a couple of weeks, then suddenly there's someone new who's doing it better than you.
Yeah.
And you have to just struggle. That eventually failed. I started writing love letters for people.
Calligraphing them.
Yeah, calligraphing them. I'd buy these writing pads, spray uko perfume on them, and sit for hours listening to people's situations. I've met this girl, or I haven't met this girl. I only see her, but I have her address. And I'd be like, okay. So I think what you're trying to do is... And then they'll pay me something. And I think that was the thing that I really got attracted to, instead of academics.
Enterprise.
Yeah. Yeah. So that was I think one of the big things in high school.
And now mom is not around, in the sense you're not sort of seeing each other every day for that kind of focus back on academia to be resounding as much, because then there's distance. So your brother leaves from 4. Are you left in a bit of...
Oh yes.
Yeah.
Oh yes. I'm left in an interesting situation, because now I know it's my time. But again, he had already taught me the ropes, and he is still one of these guys who everyone likes. He's very social, knows the politics of society. So I really got to draw that from him. But at the same time, remember, my mom has put in a very strong foundation. So even as we are doing the stuff, we are becoming mischievous every now and then. I had that it's like I had a homing mechanism. I had limits. If it's running from school and going huko sijui to just jumping over the fence. As much as we were doing that, I always remember just having that conviction that this is not me.
This is not what I'm meant for.
This is not what I'm meant for, and therefore my appetite for risk wasn't as high as some of my mates. Yeah.
Those are too many extracurricular that are not necessarily like the ones in school, but they are necessitated by the situation. Were you participating in... Dago is known for soccer, it's known for rugby, it's known for drama, taekwondo. Were those things you would find yourself in?
Oh yes. Okay. First of all, and this one I don't really like it, but everyone first of all had to report to school with a hockey stick. I hated hockey. Like, why would you play a game where you're constantly just bending and just chasing after, just getting like I didn't see the point of that. I played soccer a bit, and but the thing that I leaned into more was taekwondo. Looking back, I think
you're grateful.
I'm grateful, yes, but I think I was trying to solve something, because I've always struggled with this thing where in any setting people make the assumption that
Kasofti. You are trying to match her up, eh?
Yeah, because I was trying to change the way people think about me, the way people treat me, and so I went deep into taekwondo. I for some reason I sort of got really attracted to the idea of receiving jabs, and I went full in.
That was me and boxing.
Yeah,
when I was a teenager.
I also love boxing. So I went full in, and it's because I was trying to not allow anyone to put me in a certain place, to size me up. And so I went really deep into that. I also played rugby.
Again, it's a macho game.
Again, it's a macho game, and I think taekwondo was the one that really did it for me. I got into fights. I lost most of them. I competed. Also lost. I remember this one time we went to compete in Senior Chief Koinange, which was the Ivy League of taekwondo. And I remember like just getting into the ring and just turning around and just seeing this massive dude who was just too happy to just start.
He knocked you out a good one.
I can't remember what happened. I just remember like lying down, looking up, and I was like, "What happened?" But I think it was also a lesson that yes, I think what was happening was my optimism, my creative mind. I think it was just being tuned.
Your risk appetite.
Yeah, it was just being tuned to remind me that hey, like it's good to dream. It's good to be psyched up, to be energized, but also like
not everything
you
is
need
for
to
balance
evaluate
it out.
And know which fights to take, which ones not to.
Count the cost.
So that's I think that's a very just remember that and
So you cleared one school in high school. You cleared. How did you perform, and what the situation obviously at home didn't look like it had changed much. So what happened?
So two interesting stories there. So when I was in high school, every other term we used to go on strike. And I remember this one time we went on strike. So the strikes used to be, it's not those that we see nowadays of people going because nje haki yetu. It was dramatic. At some point, I remember when I was in Form 3, guys went on strike at night. The students slaughtered the school pigs. We cooked them on a, what do you call this? The heater.
Oh man.
Yeah. And I remember when we woke up the next morning, there were just cops all over the place.
Pigs cop.
And no, like the
actually,
police,
askari.
Police. And I remember guys getting arrested. And I think looking back, that's really bad. Like it's a very bad environment for we were kids. In Form 4, we went on strike again.
It was a thing, eh?
Yeah, and so our whole year was expelled. And we had now to be day bugs, and we had to do exams. Like we would come to school every day to do exams, but then under heavy security. Again, looking back, I can't imagine my kids going
through that now.
Yeah, like
you take them out quick.
But it was so normal back then, and I remember we did our exams under police supervision.
Serious scrutiny, yeah.
And I remember what led to that was we went on strike, and then cops fired live rounds, and then we picked the live rounds and went to Standard Street to show them to the news.
Oh wow!
And so we did exams under a lot of hardships. So you asked me how I performed, and there's a story there which I know I'll have questions back at home after this, but. For a long time, I kept telling people, I performed, I got a C+, because
that was a mark.
That was the mark. Because I didn't know, because I never went back.
Oh, so you never got your results?
I never. So I had my friend, my really good friend who's in the US right now, who told me, I looked at the scoreboard, it's a C+, and I was like, okay, great, done. I'm not going back there. I hate like the picture of that school. You know, I meet many. If you meet any Nigerian, they'll go on this
nice run about the school.
You know what we did, you remember what we did. But I think back then, I just, like, for me, school just represented hardship. And it was so bad because the bullying was real. Like if I recall how we were bullied as Form 1s, now I can say that was not a very safe environment. And actually, if it happened now, a school should be closed down. Let me tell you what I mean. You're lying in bed, and then in the dark, people just come, they grab you at night, they take you to the lower rugby pitch. You are tied there to a tree, beaten up, and then you have to go to class the next day like it's normal. You know,
and this is frequent.
Well, I would say for some people, you know, especially the people who are picked on, it was frequent.
Was there a caliber of like guys who would be typically picked on?
It was just, for example, when we were in Form 1, there were, you know, and you know, guys that I was with can talk even more to this. We had what we called an introduction night, where you've just come, you've spent like a month in school, and then you get this announcement that after dinner tonight, the Form 1s will go to the library and they'll be introduced to the school, and you think it's a good thing until you get there, and then suddenly lights go off, and then suddenly people are raining blows on you. These are prefects
for no reason.
It is to instill fear, so that from that time when someone tells you run, you run. You know, it was some people quit.
I would quit. I would say I'm soft. This is not what I want in life.
But you know, there's a social angle to it. You don't want to be the one who quits.
Street smart.
Like you want to show people I'm hardcore. I went through that.
Yeah.
And then also we would hear in other schools it was worse. Like bullying was mainstream.
Actually, it was mainstream, and it was also passed on.
Exactly.
So when you experience it as a mono, by the time you're going to your second year, you want to be the one who institutes the same fear.
Exactly. It's so many guys walking around Duku, they have scars, eh?
Yeah. I think we grew up in a very, I think it has come reducing over the years.
Of course.
But now that you mentioned that, I remember I stayed in school for one term. My first Form 1 was just a single term, and then I couldn't go back.
Yeah.
I went over the holidays. I actually looked back and I thought, no, it's not worth it.
It's not worth it. And it's
really
also
isn't
not
worth
safe.
it.
And these, you're kids.
You literally could be damaged for like, a lot of people
Many
probably
people.
did.
Yeah. Many people.
Mm.
And you know, it's interesting how the teachers, even the ministry was just like, it's like they
nonchalant
selective
about it. Deafness, yeah.
Yeah, deafness. Because I remember in school, the prefects had more power, like literally more power than the teachers. Because when it's dark,
they're the ones who take over.
They take over, and it becomes such a long night. So again, you know, it's also good to talk about like what positives came out of that. I think the positives were, I think, that reality that the world can get so real, that things can get so real that you can't fight your way through, at least sometimes, but you can negotiate. You can decide where to be at what time. You can decide where to focus your mind on. But I think that is just a privilege of a few people. Other people, other students really didn't process that well. Yeah.
And so I'm now thinking about your exit from the system. So you don't know your grades, but you walk saying it's a C+. What do you do next? What does your life? How does your life connect afterwards, after school?
So first of all, by that time, now when I was in high school, one day I went back home, Kasarani, and people had moved house.
Oh.
And then a neighbor told me, oh, your dad said, ukikuja, sijui ongea na nani atakupeleka.
Where were they staying?
So that's when we moved to, I know you've heard of Kamulu by now. Now,
yeah,
the place where everyone is saying, sijui ati 50 by 100, nini.
Oh, much further.
I'm telling you, in 1998, that place was wild. And so things had gotten to a point where my parents wanted to just get out of that city life so that we can have a place that we call our own. So it was a nice mabati house, and then just surrounded by this wilderness with animals and all, like wild animals. Everything was just wild. And I remember, like, those days there were two buses, moja asubuhi
and
moja jioni,
to go to town.
If you miss those ones,
you're done.
No, you just postpone.
That's Kamulu, that's far.
Yeah. It was even farther then, like in terms of like you're seeing nothing, you just keep going. And it was again a shock. You know, when you think you have gotten to a low, and then suddenly life says, surprise.
There's a new lower.
Yeah, we have a basement. That's how it was. So I remember, because my dad is diehard. Like he's industrious. He never gives up. Like you can see he's in serious problems. Optimism. I'll be like, but you're okay. You're okay. And so I remember him waking us up early. Sijui twendeni tukalime. Now you go. So they had. So he had rented, leased out some land for us to go and do a bit of farming. And then I remember every time we went there and tried planting, we'd still see the seeds from the last. Because the place
that haven't sprouted.
Not even sprouted. It never rains.
Oof.
It's serious desert. So very hot during the day, very cold.
Extremely cold at night.
At night. And I remember also us like farming, like keeping pigs, cows, ilibidi tujue kukamua ng'ombe. It, you know, and we had to, so we dug a borehole that was really deep because the place is a desert. And like every day,
Go and pull up the water, try to farm with it. It was a lot of work. Was there ever yield? Like mavuno harvest?
Later, much later. I think consistency is what I got from my dad, because it was really tough. And I remember when I was finishing high school, the picture on my mind of where I was going back to was that. And so I made a decision that I wasn't going to be there for long. And by that time, my bro amekuwa mtu wa mjengo. Then he's even gotten a better job where analipisha pool kwa kabaa in the middle of nowhere. And he's starting to feel like, life is speaking. Lakini he doesn't have an idea of how broke we are. But to him, it's better than nothing. And I remember us just sitting and because we used to finish work and just sit there because we could see the road, and we would watch just one car each hour just going by, very few neighbors, and we'd long to just get out of this. Like it was too dead. And so I think eventually that's the thing that made us move out.
You and your brother.
Yeah. So we moved out, not at very far, just a few steps up, or we rented someone had built this 10 by 10 building. And so we put our 2 beds up. And that's where we started living. It was a very interesting situation because the rent was 400. And the owner of the house used to live in Nyeri. And he used to come all the way from Nyeri to collect that 400.
Which is 400.
Like I hated the guy, like 400, si wache tu tuishi. Because you're spending more coming here.
Actually, it is from Nyeri.
Yeah. And we were always late. Again.
So it could come once or twice.
Man, like, and again.
Hopefully he had other shugulis in town.
Yeah. And I kept on asking myself, this brokenness, kwani, like there's no end. So eventually we moved now with my brother back to Kasarani.
Okay.
But now Apple Sports View.
All right. That's
much
improvement,
closer. Yeah. In a single room we were paying 3,500. And at that time he'd become a volunteer in one of our big hospitals. And me, I was just there, trying to figure life out. And I think when you live with someone who's bringing something to the table,
you start feeling
and you are not. At some point, you'll have to talk about it.
Yeah.
So you're not going to school. You're there just eating, watching.
You're a liability.
You're
a cost.
Yeah. And sometimes when you have to go out to meet with friends, you'll wear his trousers. Then in the evening, it will be an argument. And I think I think my mind was always like, what? Like this, I feel like a prisoner. And I think that was how I decided now, I want to
break out.
So that was just immediately after high school. So I joined this this NGO called SCAD, Students Campaign Against Drugs, as a volunteer. And it was so the organization is mainly focused on drug demand reduction in schools. And so we used to be given a small stipend, like fare and kidogo money for lunch. And then we'd go to school to talk to kids about drugs. But the money we were given was just enough. It's not a salary. You're just given money and you have to sign for it, and it's to go to the school and to come back. And they're making the assumption you're coming from your parents' house. So that other part, it's your parents to figure out how you're going to get to Hurlingham.
To them.
And very soon I realized that this one was not sustainable, because I had money to go to the schools, but I didn't have money to go back home. And I remember one day it got late because I didn't have money to go back to where we were living with my brother. And I remember being at the bus stop, and I didn't know what I was waiting for. I was just there because again, remember me, I've been taught first of all to show up, to be optimistic, and then something will happen. So me, I'm there, bus stop. I'm just hanging out, watu wananiacha, then the crowds grow smaller and smaller, and suddenly it's 11 p.m. I'm just there alone, there are no mats, and I don't have fare. And also, I don't know how to ask for help. I don't know how to tell these my three guys that, hey, I don't have money, but I need to go home. Because I was asking myself, okay, that will get me to town, but then from town to Kasarani, how will I get home? And I found myself stuck, paralysis.
In Hurlingham?
In Hurlingham, the bus station. By midnight, our sisters on the street had showed up and had started asking me, we've noticed you're here. Like, what's the plan?
Are you one of us?
Are you one of us? So I remember again, I also didn't know how to
treat that.
To ask for help, because I could see that I'm not used to
being on this side.
On this side, at this hour, with these people. And I can also tell, actually, the people who operate at that time of night are different from the ones I see during the day. That was the first night where I went and sat inside a phone booth.
I slept.
And slept there. And I remember the one detail that I remember very vividly was the cold. Me, I was coming from a desert, so I know that it gets really cold. But I didn't realize how cold it can get in an urban environment, because the wind takes over. Between the buildings, it becomes really cold. It got so cold that the guys who... So if you look at Hurlingham, the main stage, there's a car road which goes up to the Ma Hotel. And on the side, you'll find taxi guys, not at Uber, the old taxi guys. And there used to be those yellow phone booths. So that's where I'd slept. It got so cold. The taxi guys realized that I was not doing well. And one of them allowed me to sleep in his taxi. But he told me that if you're here tomorrow, I can't help you, because I don't want clients to come and find someone sleeping in the taxi. One of those taxi guys was, by the way, Joe Kadenge.
Oh.
Yeah.
The footballer.
Joe Kadenge, the footballer. So he had this
taxi.
This taxi, it was Peugeot 504. That had
the ones that the cops used to use.
Yeah. It had like the picture of a soccer ball on the side. So that was the first night.
Sleeping out.
Yeah. And the next day, things didn't improve. We weren't going for outreach. And then that was night 2. Then a couple of nights later, I go back to my phone booth and I find some guy sleeping there. And remember, I'm the person who doesn't know how to have this sensitive conversation. So I'm like, excuse me, this is my space. and
it got to the place where you're claiming the space.
Yeah, because now I'm like, now this is all I have, and now you're trying to... And mind you, at that time, my brother is wondering where I am.
Oh, and then there's no way to communicate.
Yeah.
This phone booth, you can't use to call.
Yeah.
You only used to sleep.
No phone, Zuko Kamulu.
Yeah.
So you're just stuck in this situation that doesn't have a head or a tail. And now someone is in the last fortress that you have. So we ended up arguing with this guy, fighting. But I think
like bouts.
Yeah, struggling over the same space. Because you see, first of all, there are 2 phone booths. And the reason why you have to take both of them is because under the phone booths, there's a space like this one. So that
you can put your legs.
Yeah.
Man.
And also not interrupt people coming to make phone calls. So we sort of, in the process of just fighting for the space, first of all, the first realization was this is a guy I know. Because we are with him in that.
In SCAD?
In SCAD.
Oh, so...
And this guy, during the day, he acts all like, ni kama kwao akona pesa. And now he's here. And so I realized that he was also in the same situation. Like, it's not like any one of us has been chased from home.
It's willing full, but also the
it's
situation.
Just like the situation. And that now became my body because now we were 2 of us. And we realized that actually we can navigate. Every now and then we'd get some money and I'd go back and I'd have to lie to my brother, but don't worry, we got a place, uko Hurlingham, nini, create a big picture. Because again, I would make, like I didn't want to be a burden
about that to him.
And I know he didn't mind, definitely. Like I'm his small brother. Like where is he going to take me? He has to take care of me. But I got him to believe that we were doing well. I was doing well, at least. And so with this friend of mine, he's called Muba. We started that was our jam. Go do outreach, get a bit of money to eat because it's not enough to even travel, and then come back to our phone booth. It got tough and we devised another way. So we went.
But what are you sleeping on the phone booth? The floor?
Stuff, cardboards, whatever. And then we also had like that good community of the taxi guys. Like it was a kind of a safe place. And then at night there are these guys who cook chapatis. They still do even up to now. They cook chapatis apple. And then our sisters who go in, when they come to eat, they'd also buy for us because now we've become.
So it's something that lasted for a while.
For quite a while. At some point we got clever. So we went to SCAD. We took the key. We went and duplicated it. You remember how we put it on the soap? So when guys left, we used to go in and sleep in the office. Now the office is cold, so we used to take off the curtains.
Use them as blankets.
And then
sort it out in the morning. Get it ready for people.
Before people come and leave and go walking around because now there's nothing to do. So the thing is, it was a time where offices people had started setting up offices in residential houses. So it had a bathtub, so you go there
take
and
a proper shower.
Go look for bits of soap uko inje. But then we started getting messy. Because you see, the success of that only depends on how good you are at cleaning up. So my friend Muba, we would leave clues here and there, but he would leave like serious clues. Mara sijuki toothbrush, Mara you boxer, and this guy started asking in meetings. It's like someone comes to this office at night and then leaves. Yet it's only 2 of us who have the key. And then they change the locks. And then we'd go a couple of weeks homeless and figure out a way. And at some point we just like they became too smart that there was this guy who was so onto us. Like he would look at our clothes and he would just say, "Inguo sulivaa jana na juzi." And we would try to deny, and we really
played it off for
dreaded that guy because he was just on to us. The more we tried to hide it, the more he became suspicious. And I remember even at some point he stayed back uko silently kwa giza in the office. And we came in as usual, talk of story. We brought in uko fries, put them on the office desk, we were eating, and then this guy just shows up from behind the curtains, and you're like,
holy.
And that turned into blackmail. But now,
I have something on you.
So don't give me problems, because he was also like a sort of like a supervisor in there. Yeah, so I think it was. He
didn't rat you out though?
He didn't. But then I think now that led me to another realization about life. That is leverage. You see, when someone has something over you, there's like it's a you're serving a prison sentence that you cannot. It's not sustainable. And I was just there thinking like, this guy, like how can I get that on this guy as well? Like, how can I get him off my back? And I think that also put pressure on me and my friend to start thinking about like, how do we get real jobs? Because now this one is starting to be...
This survival is...
It's too much.
It's not sustainable, yeah.
A year and a half later, you are joined by now another guy.
Wow, it is a year and a half of doing this.
Yeah. A year and a half later, you're joined by another guy. It's called Sylvester, very good friend of mine. And then again, Sylvester, now it became, yes, it was good to have comrades, but then it was also very hard to hide our tracks. And that became the life for almost 3 years. And so I remember it became a lot of pressure to the point of us trying to figure out like, how can we get out of this? Because now all our clothes are in a store in the office, and if you want something, you can't get it during the day. In fact, we had trapped the door to that store. You know how they used to build like a store under the stairs?
Under the stairs, yeah.
We have put in like a mechanism where someone cannot get in, and we had our desks somewhere near. So when we saw someone trying to open the door, we'd always tell them, mwenye nyumba alifunga. Hey, they came here one day and just, I don't know what they've locked in there.
And yet
it's our stuff who are drying, my boxers, they're drying, nini. And I remember something started to change in us, because you just see like all the guys you are with in SCAD, like amazing people. They were all, they had all now gone to college. They would come to SCAD G2 hours, then go run G to UON to Strathmore, nini. And then for us, we were just the guys who were there all day. And it started to, it started to bother us. And it really bothered us when we started now, like for me, when I started dating and getting interested, I think for some reason in my mind, I thought, people just look at the heart. But very quickly I learned that, if you can't take someone out for ice cream, you can't take them anywhere where you have to pay. And over time they start wondering like, so we'll just be meeting here.
Kwa stage,
ati kumzindikisha, like stuff that now I look back and I'm like, kweli, that was bottom. But I think it forced us to cultivate real relationships. Of course, none of those relationships survived. And I'm talking about the romantic ones. The other ones, like we're still friends, like still tight community right now. But we realized that, first, shelter, money, like you can't, like you're in a city. So you have to get those things. And so optimism kicked in, told Muba, let's start walking around, we'll find an answer. Started walking around and he said, we're also going to look for a house that we can rent. No money, remember. We went up Jabavu Lane. We asked a security guard, you know, kuna nyumba za kukomboa huku. Said yes. And you are taken huko. I told this one is 40,000. You know,
at
like,
that time.
And we were even imagining now, so you will take that room. This one will be the guest room. Me, I'll take this room and we'll see. In our mind, it's very real. And then we'd finish by telling the guy, you said you come here, what time? Yeah, so next week on Tuesday, we'll come and then we'll seal the deal. But in the process of doing that, we started seeing people going about life. Like at the bus stop, we used to see guys going to work every morning. And we used to have this thing up from the phone booth. I think I want to, like this guy looks happy.
Gig he's doing now.
This guy looks like he's living the life we'd want to live. I would go like that every time and then go to SCAD. And then fast forward, I remember one morning I saw this guy driving a VW Polo with a lemon yellow, what do you call them, jumper, sijui stud, looking fresh. Alafu he indicates because he wants to get into the main road, and as he waits patiently, he's just bopping his head. We can't hear because all the windows are up. And we stood there looking at this guy and we were like, this is
the life.
Because he doesn't have a suit, so he doesn't look miserable. Because for us, all suited guys used to look miserable on Mondays.
Oh yeah, like you're going to do what you don't like.
They just look like they were just going into prison. And so he didn't like that. So this guy was it. So we watched him a couple of days, and I remember one time we stopped him. Very confident guy. He rolls down the window. He's like, yeah, Sema. Like, what do you do? Hata tu kumsalimia, what do you do? He said, I'm a graphic designer. What does a graphic designer do? He pointed to the billboard. That was just across.
Those.
I did that. I'm like, wait, what? Like you painted the whole thing? Like, no, you can't paint that, dummy. You generate it on computer, then it's printed. Like it was.
Yeah. It took 3 years at SCAD.
I couldn't sleep. I kept on wondering, like, how? Like you do it on the computer, you send it to a printer.
Then it prints this whole big thing.
How big does the printer have to be? Uko in our computer at SCAD, we do newsletters using Publisher.
Publisher.
I think it was just a moment and a half. We said, now we are going to be graphic designers.
Hold on there. We will pick it from right there.